Xibalba. Welcome back to your Friday week in review. We've had a busy week. I think that's the best way that I can phrase it. We had a lot go on at the very first part of the week, and since then it's just seemed like recovery mode. Let's first off start things real quickly by catching up on our war forecast from the last few days. So, to the map. So if we look at the map, we see a lot of stuff going on. First off, looks like the purple tide is rolling through both Morningdale and Reekwater, trying to claim two of the last three remaining yellow faction strongholds. Emberfrost up here holding strong in Morningdale, and the good old jailers of Xibalba, the remnants of Nimbus that we discussed last week, hanging out here in Reekwater. Now, with all that being said, Purple did claim a new territory this week. We discussed it last week that there was going to be some purple rain going on down in Cutlass, and wouldn't you know it, my beautiful Xibalba soccer moms beep rolled on through, had the snacks in the back, baked goods in the front, juice boxes on point, rolled on through in Cutlass Keys, took the fight in what was a really genuinely good fight. It wasn't a steamroll by any stretch of the imagination. It was just a good fight. Good fun on both sides. We got to exchange a lot of GGs afterwards. It was a good fight. Now, just before that, however, we had the fight in First Light, where we lost. The combined yellow forces just outmoved us in First Light. We couldn't really get established anywhere on any point, because as soon as we moved, they were there, and they crunched us real hard. That was a good fight in First Light. Great job on all yellows who defended. Good stuff all the way around. As you guys can see, the battle for Windsward that we discussed on the weekend in review that was upcoming, we won. I believe that was Emberfrost on the attack. Feel free to jump back to the weekend in review to double check me there. But we held out in another good fight. No war lately on the server has been just a steamroll in any one way or another. And I think that by itself is absolutely fantastic. We now have Purple rolling through strong with 7 total territories. We have Green with 1 and Yellow with 3. 3 invasions tonight. We have in Brightwood, we have the invasion coming up in an hour and a half. Monarch's Bluff and Cutlass Keys both also get invaded in an hour and a half. So the map's going to be split on what to defend, and I don't imagine that we win one of these. We haven't yet, but we keep getting close. We've gotten one, at least to my knowledge, this is the record on the server, but we got one down to like 30 seconds remaining. And now, in further news, let's take a quick second and let's talk about some of the stock level genius going on here in Xibalba real quick. We have a few things that I have noticed have jumped drastically in price over the past week, and I do want to take a little bit of time and showcase that. So let's open up the trading post here. Ingot. Let's start with orichalcum ingots. This right here, if you looked 2 weeks ago on the server, these were 5 to maybe 7 gold apiece. $15 at their cheapest. $14.99, $15, $16, $17, $20, $17, $25, and it just goes from there. Orichalcum ingots are a huge moneymaker right now because everybody's trying to make Asmodium. Asmodium, however, is coming down in price, as we can see. These used to sell for an average of $350 to $375, but now we see multiple prices below the $350 mark. Matter of fact, if we scroll down, it doesn't look like we get to $350 in the first page. Oh, yeah, we do. Just barely get to $350 in the first page. It's wild. This used to be so much more expensive. But with the price of Ori going up, it's not really worth it for people to buy all the materials to make their Orichalcum, or to make their Asmodium, excuse me. So now, how do we get to Orichalcum ingots? Well, we start with star metal. And even star metal ingots are getting expensive. These, just that same 2 weeks ago, were 2 or maybe 3 gold a pop. And now they're up in the 9 range. This, to me, is just absolutely wild. Metal prices are so inflated right now, and it's hard to tell why. Just know, if you live here on Xibalba, buying metal is no longer cost efficient for your final product right now. It's just strictly not. And I want you guys to all be aware of that. Xibalba, my home. The last thing I want to discuss with you guys today is the results of the Datamine from a couple of weeks ago. This information was just brought to my attention, and I want to share it with you guys. Now, this information is a couple of weeks old. It is not the hottest and freshest information. Many of you may have already seen this. I know this was new information to me, and I would like to share it with you. So, understand, this is a Datamine. You have a lot of stuff in here that looks like this, which is a lot to read and a lot to bring together. So I'm going to do my best to give you the TLDR on each section. First off, dungeon mutations. It's very simple. It's like the New World equivalent of a Mythic Plus raid in a WoW. It is difficulty levels for dungeons. Next, we have new dungeons. Isabella's Lair, Aradia's Cavern, so on, so forth. Lots of stuff going on there. We know that Isabella's Lair is going to be in Shattered Mountain. We know that the Aradia's Cavern is going to be in Restless Shore. And the Unholy Depths is going to be in Great Cleave. The Enid is going to be in the next zone called Brimstone Sands. Frozen Passage is going to be in Great Cleave. Barnacles and Black Powder is going to be in Cutlass. And that's a lot of upcoming expeditions. That is a lot of content upcoming. I am real excited. I personally love dungeons. I think they're really fun. While I prefer PvP content, dungeon crawling is super fun, especially if you have a good group. Now, next, we have the spectator mode feature and the group finder feature. Spectator mode is so if you aren't in a war or in an OPR, you can still watch, which I think is super cool. We will definitely be doing streams in the future where we watch OPRs from spectator mode. I feel like that's going to be really fun and very interesting. We have the Brimstone Sands new zone. We have a couple of images. Like, this is a fort in Brimstone Sands. the city in Brimstone Sands. And if you look at that, that looks kind of almost Greek to me in its architecture. That looks very heavily Greek inspired. But then you have this style sculpture here, which looks almost like Roman inspired. Interesting. But they say here in the breakdown that it takes heavy inspiration from Egypt and Rome. Okay, I can see both of those. We know that we will find pyramids, sand dunes, an oasis, cactus plants, sandstone, scorpions, scarabs, serpents, Roman temples, camps, and more. Lots of different points of interest. Lots of different new symbols coming with all this, and more images. All of this looks super interesting, very exciting, and I'm not going to hold you guys up here, so we're just going to go to the new weapons section, and we're going to touch briefly on these before we wrap it up. We have these weapons confirmed for the future from the Datamine. Daggers. We've known they were coming. We've known they were coming for a long time. Nothing new there. One-handed club. This, interesting. Very interesting. We have a couple of images here. Maybe these are like the stock photos. You know how like every fire staff has like the same stock image? This kind of looks like that. You know, it looks like we have wooden, iron, steel, star metal, orichalcum. We have a two-handed mace, a great club, interesting. Something called a celestial gauntlet, seems like another healing weapon. Pistols. I hope we can do something offhand, like carry a one-handed weapon and with a pistol as an offhand, and actually do something with it. I feel like that would be very cool. And then we have the greatsword and the blunderbuss. And for those of you who are mount interested, we have item class categories, and we have horse gear. These things to me indicate that mounts are in fact coming. We don't know how far away these happen to be, but the item class and the objects exist. It's hard to say. It's real hard to say. But there is so much information packed in here. I will just put this link in the video description for you guys to check it out at your leisure, because there's a lot. Recipe known tooltip, holiday event stuff going on, weapons, horse gear, armor skins, event skins, emotes, skin types, icons for dyes, new lore. There's a ton of information, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this link in the video description. And Xibalba. There we have it. Not too much going on in the server itself, but there's a lot of things upcoming, and I really genuinely believe this weekend we're going to see a lot of action. A lot of things are going to take place. It's hard to say what the future holds with everybody getting so prepped and ready for server merges, but what I do know for a fact, you cannot convince me otherwise, is that this weekend things are going to pop all the way off, and when we see you guys Monday for the weekend in review, boy oh boy, we're going to have an episode to talk about. We're going to have a lot of things to discuss. Until then, Xibalba, it's been real. I'm Fluff, and we will see you right here Monday for the weekend in review.